The Joe Rogan Experience.
That's the best part right now. Is now I could just talk as much as possible, and they can't say nothing.
They can't say nothing. There were so many doubters, so many naysayers, so many people didn't want you to get that title shot. It was so unfair, dude. It was really wild. It was wild to see. It really was. It really was. Because I'm like, are you guys not watching his fights? Like, what the fuck are you guys seeing? I do not understand when people don't appreciate excellence. I really don't get it. I never, like the Sean Brady fight, you see that fight, you don't think this dude is a fucking problem for everybody? You see the Wonder Boy fight, see all your fights.
And all of them, they've been different, right? Like
Yeah.
with the Sean Brady, all I did was stand up. I didn't shoot one takedown on him. Gilbert
Yeah.
Burns, I didn't shoot one takedown. Wonder Boy, I took him down. Obviously, I'm not going to strike with a kickboxer, so I've showed you guys all forms of martial arts.
Yeah.
And people still hate it. They're still hating.
So crazy.
Even with the Leon fight. So even for this fight, I was like,
after the
bro.
Leon fight, I think they have to shut the fuck up. I think everybody has to shut the fuck up and just recognize what you did. Because you put so much pressure on him standing up. You were in his face from the very first second of the very first round. You just advanced. And you could tell he wanted that space. And you could tell it was a different experience than what he thought he was going to get from you.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw him against Colby and him against Usman, the third fight, we saw that he's an expert at distance.
Yes.
He manages the distance. He puts it at his own pace. So we were like, bro, we got to make this the dirtiest fight, the hardest fight for him. So we got to step right away. So even when the ref was like looking to me, telling me to back up, when he looked at Leon and said, you ready, you ready? I'm walking forward right away. So I'm right in his face before he even like looks up. So I was like, I got to get him on his back foot right away, make him uncomfortable. And I knew he's not good uncomfortable. None of these, no striker's really good moving backwards.
Right.
But I knew Leon specifically, I don't want to be in his kick range. I don't want him at his slow pace like he did against Colby and these guys where he kicks, moves. I'm like, I'm going to be in his face nonstop, punching him in his mouth and taking him down whenever I see an opening.
The Colby fight I thought was going to be different. I think Colby broke his foot real early in that fight.
I mean, I think Colby sucks, but for me, I think that Colby he's just not a good striker. Even with the fights that we see that he was really good at, it was just because he put a good pace on all these guys.
Right.
And he dictated the pace with, RDA and Robbie Lawler, all these guys, but none of those guys really had that type of cardio. When we saw him against Usman showed you, all right, he could keep up that pace with Colby, and then Colby can't take him down, so it ended up being like a kickboxing match. Mm-hmm. For Leon, he knew if he dictated the pace with Colby wasn't going to be able to do anything to him. And I don't think the time off, I think, hurt Colby's distance management because his shot takedowns were terrible in that fight. Like, he wasn't managing it. He was just shooting
it. If he's telling the
in.
truth, though, I think the foot had a big factor. Because I think he broke his foot. I think Leon checked a kick real early on, or he kicked low and hit the shin and broke his foot. Hit the knee, something. I don't remember exactly what happened. But apparently in the first round, he broke his foot. And that, if you can't move against Leon, you're in real trouble.
Yeah, I mean, especially because Leon's so good at his lateral movement.
Yeah,
and then his kicks hurt so
control.
hard. Yeah. So for me, I was like, I can't be in kicking range at all. I think I felt like one body kick early, and I was like, all right, let me step forward on it. So even with my mindset the whole camp, I probably took 2,000 to 3,000 body kicks and then move forward on each of them. And if I backed up at all, my coach is yelling at me, look what you did here. You did this wrong. Move forward. We can't take one step back. So I was writing it down. I was putting it in my head, do not take a step back. Do not take a step back. And then it just came out in the fight.
It came out perfect. It was a master plan. It really was. Watching you execute it, I was just so shocked, first of all, his inability to deal with you on the feet. Because even if it was just a kickboxing match, there was so much pressure and so much volume of strikes. You were constantly on him. Your boxing was so on point, man. It would look better than it's ever looked.
Yeah, I think people just underestimate me when they look at me because they say, oh, he doesn't have a bunch of knockouts. But when you look at my fights and you see the way I've pieced up a lot of these, big names like Gilbert and Sean Brady, I beat them both on the feet. And for the Leon fight, my gym is small, but I work with, I think, who's the best striker in the UFC right now. He's a 55er, Ignacio Balmundez. Like, this kid is a monster. He probably has, like...
Monster.
You saw, his spinning heel kick knockout. I'm
Dangerous,
like, I'm sparring with this dude every single day. So I'm like, nothing that Leon was going to throw at me was going to surprise me. Nothing was going to make me uncomfortable. And for me, if you're beating me up, I want to keep going to you. So for Nacho, I'm like, bro, throw the kitchen sink at me. I want you to throw everything you have in your tool bag at me. So if whatever Leon throws... I'm just going to be comfortable in that fire.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just nonstop sparring. Even if it's not hard sparring, light sparring, just enough to see everything and have my reaction time. And I think that helps a lot with the way I've been fighting lately.
How much time did you have to prepare for Leon?
I had about 8 weeks.
Did you kind of have an inkling that it was going to happen before that? Like, had you been preparing mentally before that, thinking that
was the hardest
the date?
part, right? The lead up, because it was after beating Gilbert, they were like, "You're guaranteed next," and then you're like, "When is it happening?" They're like, "Well, Colby has to fight first." So then I'm sitting there and playing the waiting game, and then they offered me Usman. They're like, "Well, if you don't want to wait, we could give you Usman." So we were at talks with Usman, and then Usman ended up fighting Hamza on short notice. So then I was like, all right, well, there's nothing else they could put in front of me. It's going to be me against the winner of Colby and Leon. Then that fight happens, and then Leon's trying to brush it off like, nah, there's still other guys I could look at and see who's next. And he even brought up Gilbert Burns. And I'm like, bro, I just beat Gilbert Burns. So I'm sitting there, in limbo, like, what's happening? I'm calling my manager every day, and Ali's my manager, and he's like, bro, trust me, Dana's not going to go against his word. He's going to give you the shot. He's going to give you the shot. And then all of a sudden 300 comes up, and I'm like, oh, so we're probably going to be 300. And then they say, oh, they offered to fight to 3 other guys, and I wasn't one of those guys. So then, like, I'm sitting there like, bro, wait, no way am I about to get screwed right now. Are they going to give it to somebody else?
Did you ask, why didn't I get the fight at 300? If they were trying to get Leon to fight at 300, why didn't you get that title shot?
For me, it was just, I put it out there. I said, if they really wanted Leon to fight there, they would have put me on there. Because I said yes. They said they asked Islam, they said they asked Shavkat, they said they asked Hamza, and they all said no because of Ramadan. But I fought multiple times during Ramadan. So for me, I'm like, if they really wanted Leon, they could have had him with me. But I think they just wanted to have that shock factor with 300, where it's like, oh, double champ status for Islam. Or Hamza's obviously a huge star. He comes back down. So I think they just wanted that. And Leon's not a promoter. He doesn't really promote his fights in general. Obviously, he's a great fighter. But for 300, I think they want somebody that's going to try to push the event.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
The rules are the rules. A guy makes it to the top of the heap. He's supposed to be next in line for a title shot.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm like, what else do I got to do?
All the purists felt that way. I didn't see anybody who's like a real solid MMA fan who felt that was a lot of the casuals. A lot of the casuals jumping in with their goofy opinions on things.
But that's the age we live in, right? The troll age. Nobody has a profile picture. They just say the dumbest stuff.
Well, not only that, you have a look, the reality of the numbers is, I had a joke in my act that 90% of all Twitter is done by 10% of the people, and those people are 100% retarded. But it really almost is that. It's a joke, but it's kind of almost true, because are you commenting on shit all the time? Do you go to someone's YouTube videos and talk shit?
No.
You're busy.
Yeah.
You're busy being the fucking welterweight champion of the world. You ain't got no time for that. So the people that have time to be doing that all the time are, unfortunately, generally not doing that good. They're not. Michael Jordan's not leaving YouTube comments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the people that are engaged in these attacks on specific fighters in particular, they're usually just dorks. And I get it that these dorks buy pay-per-view, and I get it these dorks, but they're not most people. Most people want to see the best people fight the best people. And would it be exciting to see Islam go up and try to win at 170? Fuck yeah, it would be. I'd be all in for that fight. Unfortunately for you, I mean, it sounds great, but if I was running things, I'd be like, the fights are going to be fucking great anyway. It's UFC 300. Everyone's going to be super hyped up. There's so much on the line. It's a crazy fucking card. That's a great fight. It's a great fight.
Yeah, and it's 2 guys that are on 10-fight winning streaks.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
but how weird was it to have to do the fight at like 5 in the morning?
Oh, my God.
So let's explain that to people who don't know. The UFC that was done in England was done on American pay-per-view time. So the card had to start. What did it start, like 1 a.m.?
Yeah, it started, the first fight was 1 a.m.
First fight of the night, 1 a.m. Undercard. UFC Fight Pass, first fight of the night. That's crazy. That's so crazy. As if we can't watch it earlier in the day. As if UFC fans on a fucking Saturday are going to say, oh, the pay-per-view starts at noon. Okay. We watch football games at noon. We wouldn't watch world title fights at noon. Making you guys fight at 5 in the morning to me was bananas. I was like, that is so contrary to anything you would want from optimum physical performance.
Yeah, it was wild. Like we got down there the week before on Saturday, and we found a gym, so we're like, let's start trying to work out at 4 a.m. because being the main event, they said we'll probably be on around like 5:30. So the hardest part was just trying to stay up from midnight to 4 a.m. to go drive to this gym, and we had like a big house, so we had a bunch of people with us, but one person yawns and it's like addictive. And it's like, bro, it's midnight. We're all just like watching Netflix. And then we didn't have no games or anything. So we're just like trying to watch movies.
Wow.
And then one guy yawns. And you're like, I'm going to go upstairs by myself for a second. And then just like the PI is really good because they gave us like some jet lag like glasses that shine light in your eyes that you're supposed to turn on at right when the sun set. Because when the sun sets, you start getting melatonin in your body, and it makes you want to go to sleep. So they like put this on when the sun sets, so it like shocks your body, make you think it's about to be sunlight.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I'm walking around the house with like these glasses that are like shining light in my eyes, and it still was hard. We would show up to the gym.
It's like, fuck you, bitch. It's 3 a.m.
we went to go work out. So I'm trying to get everybody to work out with me. So like we had maybe us 5 or 6 guys with us, and then the gym was at 30 minutes away. So by the time we finished working out at night, the sun was rising because it was like 7 a.m. And I'm like, how am I about to fall asleep right now? So I would like take melatonin fight week, and then it would wake me up at like 2 p.m. and I would still be like groggy the rest of the day. And then you have to do like interviews and stuff like that. It was hard.
So did you try to stay on Chicago time the whole thing?
I tried, but it was still hard just because, like I said, that time in between where that board time,
right?
Where we're like, all right, we got to work out at 4 a.m. And then, during the day we had interviews and stuff starting at 3 p.m. They adjusted those times. So then we would finish everything and it would be like 7 p.m.
How have they done London cards in the past? Did they do that in the past?
They've done it once with, I think it was Bisping against Hendo twice. Hendo 2.
The second one?
Yeah, the second one. But other than that, they would just do it in American time zone would be like daytime here.
That's so crazy.
But I think pay-per-view wise, they expect more people to buy pay-per-views in prime time, like 9 p.m.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
But when they go to Abu Dhabi, we still fight Abu Dhabi time, nighttime.
Yeah.
And then over here, it's daytime.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they see like a change in numbers with that, and that made them adjust.
They probably do, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. It's whatever. Like you can't have people fight at 5 a.m. That's nonsense. You can't have an audience there at 5 a.m. Fucking exhausted for a world title fight. Exhausted. Can't even believe you're still awake.
For me, I was like, I hope they are exhausted because I'm like, they're probably gonna be booing me anyway. So I'm like, let them get drunk starting at midnight. Let them be dead tired once it gets to that level.
How many people were asleep in the audience?
People started leaving early. It was like the 4th round, and I think I got the last takedown, and I was like finishing on top of him. They said people were leaving.
Wow.
And I was like, that's a good sign. So it just tells me that they know that there's nothing else he could really do.
He had one big moment in the last round, right when he got on top.
Yeah, I still got it right here, and it's just like I just keep shaking my head every time I think of it. But it just tells me that I still have stuff to fix, still have stuff to work on, and you can never get like too comfortable, especially with him. But yeah, my coach is the type that'll like tell me everything I did wrong after a fight instead of the stuff I did right. So right away, he said, now look at your face. Now look at you. Like, you did that because you took your foot off the gas for 1 second, and something could happen.
Yeah.
Who knows if there was a minute left, what could have happened, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I won, coach. I'm the world champion. You chill out.
But he wants you to be perfect.
Yeah.
That was it was interesting because you could see him using energy management. You could see him trying to figure out when to just defend and when to try to break free, and when to plan himself and fire shots, and when to just stay on the back foot and keep moving. Like, he tried to hold you off a few times, but I think whatever you were doing for strength and conditioning, your cardio was insane. Because the volume, just the sheer volume and pressure that you were putting on him, and the fact that you keep that up solid 5 rounds.
Yeah.
That was insane.